11 years ago, I made a video of the driveway heating system, and now I have done some repairs and added some more equipment, so we'll put together some pieces of the additional story. We tracked down leaks, inspected the boiler, and did a lot of maintenance to bring it up to like new condition, and I decided to add an automatic system for refilling antifreeze if there's leaks from a tank with the pre-mixed antifreeze. The pre-mixed antifreeze is in a 15-gallon barrel, the original one that came 11 years ago to fill the system. I have added these two sensors, which are lit red because you can see the fluid level is above both of them. Those will turn on red or orange lights depending on how far down the level goes. There is a pump inside the tank, a low pressure 12-volt pump that can pump to about 5 psi. The fluid comes out of there, this hose, comes into this filter at V7, the shutoff valve. Then it goes through this hose to this pump, which also a 12-volt pump, which can handle maybe 20 psi or so. The original expansion tank connected at the bottom of the air separator right here. It rusted out. That's what triggered all the work for this season. I decided to go with 2 expansion tanks. Now they have shutoff valves which must be open all the time, but it's handy to be able to turn them off if you have to replace one. And having 2 does 2 things. It lets me replace one and still have the other in the system. It also cuts down the delta pressure from thermal expansion by about half. This pump outputs, you can see the arrows. There's the inlet and then the outlet. That goes to this check valve. Then from the check valve, I have a gauge that goes, then V4 is the valve that connects all that to the main system, but also teed the other direction from the valve. There's 2 ways to go. One is to the pressure switch, which can turn on the pump when the pressure gets too low. There's a backup pressure gauge right there. And also there's a path back through this manifold of 3 valves that goes back through this filter, and then that goes back into the tank. So I can actually recirculate and clean fluid by opening one of these 3 valves. V9 and its V9 and V9A have to be open to directly recirculate from the output of the pumps back into the tank. I can do that to lower the pressure in the system. That's best done with the valves V5 and V6 turned off to the expansion tank so they don't empty out. That lets me make sure the system's running for, say, a monthly test. Now, because this is a 3-valve manifold, the line to V10 comes back from this original valve where you could add or remove fluid. V8 goes to the other original shut-off valve, or you can add or remove fluid. You can use those for bleeding. So if I decide to bleed the system, I can turn it on and return through either one of those, and which does go through the filter, goes back into the tank in case there's air. The power for the pumps comes from this 12-volt power supply, which is turned on by this 120-volt pressure switch. The power has to go through these two relays and these two breakers. If the breakers pop, either one of them, one for each pump, there's a LED light that will turn on to show that the breakers popped. The relays are turned on by a set of controls. So the primary side of the relays is still 12 volts. This first control turns on if the pressure switch calls for the pumps. This turns on, and it will only allow both relays to the pumps to be on for 99 seconds. That way it won't run forever. There's an hour meter to show how long pumps have run in total. This second controller will turn on for 1 second when the switch calls for the pumps to run, and that will turn this latching relay so that this white light becomes a red light, and that will stay on indefinitely, so I will know the system ran, and then I will have to manually reset it back to white. The original valves I have labeled. This one at the bottom, V1A. These two in and out are V2 and V3. This one, which is also can supply or remove fluid, is V1B. The new system has the rest of the valves. V4 goes to and from the replacement system. So you can isolate that, turn it off, and it's not there. However, V5 and V6 are the valves for the two storage tanks, and they're on all the time unless one of them springs a leak or I want to drain down the system without emptying those tanks. V7 is open from the first pump, the pump inside the tank, and goes through this filter. V7, V8, and V8A, which is redundant, are from V1A, so fluid can be returned to the tank from V1A if that valve in both of these are open. V9A and V9 have to both be open to return fluid through this filter back into the tank. Crack both of them open to start lowering the pressure in the system by filling the tank. And then when the pressure drops enough, the switch will turn on, close valves V9 and V9A, and the pressure will build up. The controls will start to run, and if the pressure reaches the high setting, this will turn off. Green light flashes when it's calling for the pumps to run, and it's solid now, so it's just showing it has power. Then the primary system will run, turn on the relays for 99 seconds. The pressure can build up a lot quicker than that if these two tanks, V6 and V5 valves, are closed. But if for some reason it runs too long, the relays will be opened again after the 99 seconds. This video demonstrates how the makeup system works, and is also the process for monthly testing. So first, turn off the valves to the storage tanks, V6 and V5. That way they won't lose pressure when we open the valve to let the pressure down by flowing back into the tank. So the easiest way, open V9A, and then we will crack V9 open. So the pressure is going to drop, and when it gets to 5, the system will turn on the pumps, we'll see these kicking on. The one on the left will turn it off after 99 seconds if it hasn't stopped. This one has turned at 1 second, turn the latching relays to the red light. Now we close the valve V9 and V9A. Pressure will rise. It's already at 14, 15, 16. Also, the second hand on this clock was rotating. The power is off now, but it finished well within the 99 seconds. So now we're seeing 16 psi because the high pressure was set to 14, but it made it to 16, and the low pressure was set to 9. Open V5, the pressure will drop because these tanks are a little lower. I'll open now V6, might drop a little more, 13. Both of them took a little of the fluid to get down from the 16 psi to normalize at 13 again. Again, the red light is on. It will stay that way. That tells me that the system ran. And then I have to manually reset it to go back to white. And that will stay like that until the next time it runs.